hope you enjoy this video and more to come. Part of my buying a property in Bali series, or we're trying to build a house here in Bali, and look, the process can be very quick and very easy, or it can just take ages, or most likely it's going to be not what you expected. So I'll give you a quick background. About a year ago, Fee and I bought a little bit of property in the sort of outer regions, outer western side of Denpasar, sort of up a little bit further north of Canggu and not quite as far up as Tabanan, in a small village right next door to my little brother Katut's place. To get the contracts all drawn up and officially ratified and the financial transaction, you go to what's called a notaris. Now, a notaris is not quite a lawyer, but and a bit more than a justice of the peace or something. Someone who can stamp and write out contracts, but not someone who'll fight you in court, or you know, you can get you to legally represent yourself with sort of serious charges or anything like that. So 12 months ago we came to a notaris. Now, a little bit of advice: if you are looking to buy or lease property in Bali and the owner of the property suggests that you use their notaris, can I just make you a little suggestion from my own experience? Say no thanks, we'll use our own. Because I tell you what, the notaris, a bit like a lawyer, is representing the person that's engaged them. So if you get their notaris is going to make sure that they're covered, but it's not necessarily going to be in your best interests. And look, a little hiccup has happened in our situation. There's a couple of things that have happened. We bought two small properties. One property we've got the paperwork for. The second property, 12 months later, we still haven't got a certificate of title yet. We still don't have the boundaries defined in a way that we can start putting fences or foundations or any structural work up. So we've just been waiting and waiting and waiting for ages for these notarises to submit the paperwork. We've paid our tax, our transfer tax to the government, so that they can transfer the title over and it's officially registered in our name. But we went to the tax department the other day, and they said it still hasn't been lodged. We come back to the notaris, which is a good half or 3/4 an hour from our place. He goes, no, I've done it ages ago. So look, we have rung this guy up. Oh look, poor Fee's rung him up at least 20 times and said, excuse me, where's the paperwork? We sort of need to get on with the build. We need to start getting things happen. I need to get the boundaries defined. I need to know where my land starts and the next door neighbour stops, so we can put fencing up and put drainage and lots of stuff. And we really can't move until we've got that. So Fee's in there having an argument with the guy now, and I'll tell you what, the lawyers in Australia or New Zealand have very fancy sort of offices, and they're very professional. These guys are like a couple of school desks and an old 20-year-old photocopier or something. Really, it's not the high-end profession that you would expect from a conveyancing lawyer or for someone who's there principally to help you write formal legal agreements. One little another snag that we ran into, and this is something for someone who wants to move to Bali, or someone who's got a Balinese partner, male or female. If you're moving over from another country, and in my case I'm married to a local, we found out, luckily before it was too late, that if we get married and don't do a prenup agreement that separates her money and my money, her assets and my assets, she can't own land. And there's a pretty simple but important reason for that. What's she doing? She's hiding down the back there. There's an important reason for that. The ownership of land is one of the highest sort of orders of legal, I guess, ownership. So if something happens to her, by law, a Westerner, a non-Indonesian citizen, can't own land in Indonesia unless you're a company, but then the company owns it and you don't. So legally I can never own land in Indonesia unless I change That's noisy, unless I change my citizenship. So if we're married and I buy land on her behalf, or I buy it in her name, we still have to have an agreement, a legal agreement that says in the event that something happens to her or something happens to our marriage, I can't claim any of her assets back as my own, because I can't inherit something that I'm not allowed to own, being a parcel of land in Indonesia. Without that prenup agreement, she's not allowed to own land. She can lease land off the government. We can buy the land and they put it into a different sort of subheading. But if you actually want to own it outright, like we expect in Australia, then you've got to go through this whole other rigmarole of getting stat decks and all that sort of stuff to make sure that the land that's in her name stays in her name. It is a bit of a trap, and it's also another hurdle that you've got to go through. So the biggest recommendation I can give you is, if you are going through the process of buying or leasing or moving to Bali, the one thing you need to do is get really, really good advice. And in a short while, I'm going to be able to tell you where you can get the best advice from, and I'll give you a little hint. So very soon, Fee will be a very useful person to know. She's already involved with some real estate, and she's on her way to working through being able to provide you guys with some better answers and some good honest feedback, give you all the lowdown and all the information, because I tell you what, it's hard to get straight up information. All the contracts in Indonesia are in a different language, in Bahasa, and if you've got a contract in English, it doesn't count here in Bali. So you can have a notaris or you can have a lawyer write out a statutory declaration or write out a contract, but if it's not ratified here in Indonesian, guess what? If it goes to court, you don't win. The other person's almost always going to win, and that's whether it's in English or not. So hey, good luck guys. Just give you a heads up, that's where we're at with our property. We're so close to being ready to start developing and building. We've got through the wet season, and that was important to give the land some time to settle down. Oh, just waiting and waiting. It's just a bit frustrating. There's a lot of other stuff happening, and I'm going to be much more open shortly about all of that. There's a big reason why I haven't been doing vlogs for a long while. I will go back to doing vlogs very, very soon, and I'll give you all the lowdown on what's going on. There has been some big changes here in Bali, and there's some very important reasons why I've had to hang the old GoPro up for a while, but it's worth it. And at the end of that, we're going to be able to come out rockets firing and get back into doing the regular vlogs. So following our build, following the hassles, following the nightmares of trying to get all this is just a part of that whole process. Thanks for being patient and for keep watching our channel. Don't forget to jump on my Facebook if you want to know what you're doing when you're coming over to Bali. We're still doing the Bali donate work. We're still having our weekly meet and greets. We have a couple of times a week that we get together with my Facebook fans and friends, and that's at Seafood Feast on the Mondays and the Wednesdays up at Stonewall in Seminyak. It's a great chance to get to meet you guys who've been supporting our channel and supporting the work that Bali Donate's been doing. So thanks for all of that. If you haven't subscribed to Muzza in Bali, hit that button. Please subscribe to me. Give us a thumbs up or even a comment, and it helps the old metrics get us up into the pecking order. But we've got more to say, lots more coming up. Honestly, it's frustrating me more than it's frustrating you not being able to get online and do my regular vlogs. But soon enough, we'll be back to normal, and we've got some really interesting and some pretty shocking stories to be bringing you soon. There's so many things that I've learned in this little bit of downtime that I had no idea how vulnerable many of you guys are coming over here and trusting someone over this side. So watch this space, and I'll talk to you soon. See you when you get here. Bye guys.